Namaskar, warm greetings to all the participants. I see Dr. Dheeraj Sharma on behalf of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I welcome all the participants who joined us today in this wonderful webcast. The topic is enhanced collaboration for optimal performance in terms of skill enrichment of chartered accountants. It's indeed the need of the time. I take this opportunity to welcome Chairman of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, CA Dr. Anuj Goyal sir. In the absentia, CA Sipriya Kumar, Vice Chairperson of the committee, and today's resource person, a very relevant professional, CA Nilanjan Paul, and all the team members from Gorakhpur branch, which is the host branch for today's session, all the participants who joined us today in this webcast. And indeed, before we move ahead for this very wonderful webcast on this much needed topic, on which we have very learned resource person with us. So I take this opportunity to introduce our chairperson of Professional Skills Management Committee, C. Dr. Anuj Goyal ji, who is besides being chairperson of Professional Skills Management Committee, he is also chairman of Ethical Standard Board of ICI in the current year. He is vice chairman of Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, vice chairman of Tax Audit Quality Review Board, and also he is convener of Publication and CDS Directorate of ICI. Besides this, he is a member of various non-standing committees of ICI in the current year, and he is a 6-time Central Council member, an unstoppable professional. He initially he became Central Council member in the year 2004, and then thereafter he always won every election with the flying colors. Before that, he also served as chairman of CIRC of ICAI. Before that, he served as chairman of Ghaziabad branch of CIRC of ICAI. Also, he was elected as chairman of Ghaziabad chapter of ICSI and Ghaziabad chapter of ICI CMA. If I talk about his qualifications, he has multiple qualifications, multiple degrees. He is chartered accountant. Also, he possesses qualification of company secretary, cost and management accountant, MCOM, LLB, PhD, DISA, DIRM, and many more things. And he is a very dynamic and energetic Central Council member who always stood with the prime objectives to serve the members of the ICI at large. And he always take his stand for the members and students and all the stakeholders stakeholders involved, where he is the chairman or vice chairman or member of any committee. So he's I must say he's an unstoppable professional, always dedicated towards the profession. So I request Anu sir for his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, CA Dr. Dheeraj Sharma ji, our very prominent chartered accountant and educationist, has been the chairman of the largest branch of the northern region, Gurugram branch, and is really doing something great for the cause of the profession, for the cause of the members, for the cause of the students, as a resource person also, as a educator also, as a motivator also. We are having the presence of CA Nilanjan Paul ji, who is a very prominent resource person, Nilanjan ji, and is going to speak on very important topic. I think a Professional Skill Management Committee is trying to see that how we can have best of the resource persons on the best of the topics through which we can enrich the skills of the best of the chartered accountants, best of the accounting professors of the world, the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And today in this series, we are having this very important topic, enhanced collaboration for optimal performance in terms of skill enrichment of chartered accountants. And friends, I'm quite confident that the best of the accounting professors of the world can further enrich their skills as per the expectations of the society, as per the expectations of the trade and industry, as per the expectation of the nation. And I'm quite confident with the help and support of CA Dr. Dheeraj Sharma ji and Nilanjan ji, we will be certainly enriching our skills in this direction. And I welcome, of course, Dr. Sambit Kumar Misra ji, founder, secretary of this Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, and all the viewers from each and every part of the world who are live with us in thousands of numbers. And I'm quite confident that all of you will certainly see that how we can ensure that the best of the accounting professionals of the world, the chartered accountants of ICI, can further enrich their skills with the help and support of the resources like C. Dr. Dheeraj Sharma ji and Nilanjan ji. And I think we will be learning the essential skills to develop and expand leadership rapport and design teams for collaboration, craft win-win negotiation strategies and negotiation skills. I think the limitation which all of us will accept of our CA course curriculum is this, that we are not having any classroom education. We are not having any face-to-face education system. We are not having any residential education system like IITs or IIMs. And in spite of that, we are having the best of the accounting professionals of the world. But how we can try to see that those skills, those interpersonal skills, those communication skills, presentation skills, how those skills which are supposed to be the part of the skills of the chartered accountants can be further enriched. And I'm really grateful to see Dr. Dheeraj Sharma ji, Nilanjan ji for being very, very active. And I will not be taking further time as we are very, very eager to hear our honorable guest speaker Nilanjan ji. So I once again welcome all our honorable members from each and every part of the world. Happy learning. Over to CA Dr. Dheeraj Sharma ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And indeed, it's the need of the time that though we chartered accountants are one of the best professionals in the entire world, but as you told that our in our curriculum structure, we are not habitual of going to attending any college classes or any university classes. So we need to ensure the enrichment of our skills continuously, even our professional journey as well. And I believe that today's topic is really very much relevant for all of us. That is really a wonderful topic, and I am very much sure that today learned resource person, C. Nilanjan Paul sir, he will enlighten all of us, and we all will be able to learn something new on this particular topic. So before I request Nilanjan sir to deliver this session, I take this opportunity to introduce himself. He is a seasoned chartered accountant having almost 2 decades qualification, 2 decades experience in a wide range of accounting and auditing matters. He has significant experience in assessing the financial reporting implications and arising out of the complex and judgmental matters such as going concern issues, non-compliance with the laws and regulations, and he has a good command over the relevant auditing standards and other regulations as well. And he is speaker on at a various established platforms, various professional platforms, where he delivered several number of sessions on the relevant topics, and he delivered his sessions including at a various reputed platforms like Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, and which is working under MCA. He is also a speaker at ICI platforms, and he is involved in providing point of view on emerging issues such as reporting under the Companies Act and SEBI listing regulations. He has experience in handling the capital market transactions. He published point of view on emerging topics in the leading publications, having national presence, and he has been speaker at various platforms, various forums. In previous time as well, he has shared his knowledge and experience with our members, and it's really great for all of us that such a learned speaker who joined us today to share his wisdom and share his experience with all of us. So I request Nilanjan sir, kindly please proceed further. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dheeraj. I must thank the institute, especially the chairman of the committee, Anuj sir, for this opportunity. And it is indeed a very engaging experience for me to start this session on something very close to all of us, which is to develop our professional skills as we proceed on our professional journey. So let me share my screen to start with. Yeah, I assume the screen is
Yes, sir.
visible.
Yes, visible, sir.
Thank you, Dheeraj. So the topic for today is enhanced collaboration for optimal performance. I think as professionals, especially chartered accountants, we are given this responsibility of performing at our best. We are the trust keeper of the nation. We are in the business of keeping trust for various stakeholders. be it the government, be it employees, be it societies at large. So to have a performance up to that level, which can have a ripple effect on the entire economy or the country as a whole, it is very critical that we as professionals continue to enrich ourselves with this in our professional journey. So today we're going to talk about collaboration, which I think is a very key facet in our professional journey. And we'll go through not just collaboration as a topic, but how this aspect or this understanding of collaboration interacts with the entire uh, professional journey of ours, right? So, be it our leadership skills, be it our negotiation, how collaboration cuts across the multiple facets of a profession. So, let's see um, uh, what what we can gain from each other's experience. Generally, in these kind of a session, I always request all the participants to have an engaging discussion. It's quite becomes very boring if just one person keeps on talking. But considering the limitations and all that, I would expect the participants to put their questions in their chat box. Time permitting during the course, or maybe at the end of the session, we can have a one-to-one dialogue. But but despite the challenges, I would expect the participant to be alert and be engaging in this entire 2 hours of that we're going to spend today. So if I have to talk about high performance, right? So the first thing that comes up in our mind is that high performance is something or a person who will always meet uh, the desired standards, right? So let's say if you have a deadline of 5th of, let's say, September. If I'm able to meet, let's say, on the 3rd of September, I would be perceived to be a high performing person. But here we are not going to talk about an individual. Here we're going to talk about high performance team, because more so an individual will not make much of a difference unless the entire team works in that objective, right? So in our professional lives, it is seldom that we'll work on as a one-man army. We would need to interact and coordinate with other stakeholders, with other counterparts, with other professionals. So developing that collaborating approach, as well as keeping in mind the high performance expectation from our stakeholders, is critical to nurture a high performance environment. And in that environment, what is the most critical ingredient is a team which performs together, which works together with the sole objective of being a high performer. So team, as we all know, is basically a group of people who would come together. They will have they would have different skill sets, but they will ultimately uh, be like uh, puzzles, a part of the puzzle in a jigsaw, and they will ultimately complement each other and meet the desired objective. Now, being humans, we'll have our various pluses and minuses. There will be various personality types. Uh, we call them traits, right, in our journey, and so these traits are very person specific. When we come and work as a team, these traits should actually complement each other so that we can achieve high performing results. In a very high level kind of a thing, a high performance team or a collaborating environment, uh, it is very important that there is a flow of information. It is a continuous flow of information. They communicate with each other. They align ourselves with the key objective. They should create short-term and long-term plans. There should be ownership and accountability, and they should also hold each other accountable. So if I just pause here for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, this is something that is anyway expected from us in a professional platform. So unless we communicate amongst the team and also with our superiors, it is difficult that we would be able to reach a desired objective of being a high performance and collaborative person. Uh, Accountability is again one of the key traits that should have in a collaborative environment, right? So as we move forward, so this is what I was thinking that we'll talk about um, in an hour or so. We'll see how collaboration is needed for a leadership kind of a role of a professional. What is a collaboration? And we'll also look at how collaboration affects the negotiation of of a particular professional. So when we talk about negotiation, it is not just I have to always win. Sometimes negotiation also mean we have to uh, give up something for the betterment of that objective. So all that we're going to talk about in an hour time. So when we talk about uh, collaboration, one thing that is very important is that collaboration is a character of a leader. And when I say leader, leader doesn't mean a designation. It is not that you become a leader immediately the moment you are designated as a manager or as a director or as a CEO or a CFO of the entity. It is a functional role. You can still be a leader, and you may have just joined the CA profession, or you just started your CA journey. Leadership means a behavior, it's a mindset rather than being a designation. So I think I want to clear that air first, that leadership is not linked to a designation. If you are designated as a leader, that doesn't mean you possess a leadership mindset. It's a behavioral trait. It's a mind that propel a leader towards a cohesive or a collaborative environment, right? So I think this is one thing which we should all keep this in our mind as we go forward in our professional journey. Yeah. So if you see on the screen, and I put this up deliberately, you will see very common names, right? And they are across many walks of life, be it Mother Teresa, uh, be it Margaret Thatcher, be it Abraham Lincoln, be it Mahatma Gandhi, be it Andrew Carnegie, right? All these are leaders in their own profession or in their own job. They have their diverse skills, but they ultimately have led or done something for which the history would always remember in the times to come. They have etched themselves in the minds of everyone, and even today stand as an icon for leadership and inspiration for many more. So, what's make them so unique? Is it that they did something very big, or they they did what they really like to do? And in that entire journey, they pulled up an entire mass of people with them so that all of them can lead a better life. I think our very own Mother Teresa is one such example. I look up to her as an inspiration, and the the touch, the motherly touch which she had always provided to all the destitutes in Calcutta, right? Similarly, Mahatma Gandhi and uh, Martin Luther King, they have in their own right, in their own time, have been an inspiration, and they have been able to garner the the love and affection of so many fellow citizens so as to abolish various um, various wrongdoings which had happened to a specific community or a specific country, right? Nelson Mandela, you can also see on the screen. So if I have to sum up all these uh, important personalities, um, as I said, leadership is not a designation. It is their action that inspire someone, that inspire others, to dream more. They can put that trust that yes, you can achieve something more than you think at present. Learn more and do more, right? So if you inspire others, you make them dream more, make them learn more, and that will help them to become a better version of themselves. If you're able to do all that, you are a leader, right? So a bit of a technical. So let's say if I have to talk about a leadership mindset, primarily what we just spoke can be summed up in these three or four things. So one is that you have to have a vision. You should you should know what you intend to achieve. You should have a group of person who would follow you, and you'll be able to influence these persons, or to some extent you'll be able to influence the outcome. If you're able to add up all these three factors, you would be a effective leader. So when I talk about followership at present, followership doesn't mean you have to be a blind follower. Follower is someone who follows a person because of his or her principle. It is not that I am following somebody for the heck of following. It is not a blind followership which paves the way of a leader. There has to be a purpose-driven, common goal-oriented outcome, and in that process, you might be able to find out people with the common objective. Now, as a leader, you are also should be able to have that ability to influence people, right? Because unless you are able to put across your point of view, and to some extent negotiate and negotiate, you would not be able to fulfill your responsibilities as a leader. So what makes a great leader really great, right? We saw all these personalities on the screen, but if I have to sum up or give my perspective, these are the four common traits which I would say that they make great and great leaders. First and foremost is integrity, right? As I said, we are in the trust business. The integrity and ethics is of utmost important. In our CA journey, we have the code of ethics, which is like a Bible for us to upholding ethics and integrity in all the activities that we do. So, as a professional, we should be principled, honest, respectful to others, passionate about beliefs. We might have divergent beliefs, but we should at least be hearing them out. And ultimately, we should practice what we preach. If we don't align our action with our words, then obviously we will not be perceived to be a trustworthy person, and hence we will not be perceived to be a professional of integrity as well. The next one I would say is vision, right? Vision could be a short-term goal or a long-term goal, but it is something which you are passionate about, right? Let's say if I want to, I am, I am, I am passionate about helping the new chartered accountants in the professionals to handhold them. So that's a vision I have, which I put up for for myself, right? So for that, I would try to see the future. I would like to look at what are those goals that are forward looking, how those aspects can be imbibed in our current curriculum, and how we can make use the best of resources to meet this objective. So ultimately, you need to know where you are going. You can't be driving a car and let the car decide where the car will take you. You have to be on the driving seat, and that vision is that steering wheel in that car, which will help you to go to a particular direction. Uh, the vision, what I've also seen, might find common ground across many people, right? This would help you to bring people together, and this will also help you to create a followership, which is required for any movement or any profession for that matter. Vision also bridges the present and the future. It gives, or it paints a picture about the future. And if a group of people or the uh, people having common mindset goes into that direction, they would be able to create a better world for everyone. Third, most important, I would say, in all of this is communication. Great leaders communicate effectively. When you hear Mahatma Gandhi speaking, or even if you hear the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa or Margaret Thatcher, they would inspire you. They would give you those goosebumps to say that, yeah, something very profound is you are going through a very profound experience. So leaders are actually very good orators. They, they can communicate a very complex topic or a very complex emotion in a very seamless and easy way, right? So as a leader, you should be able to communicate effectively. You should share very clearly and articulate very clearly what you see today and how you are going to help achieve that objective. So that communication skill somebody should need to develop. Uh, when we talk about communication, the normal notion is that we speak. I think one of the very important traits of a leader is that he should listen. He or she should listen. If you are listening, then you are actually telling the other person that hey, I am there for you. I am trying to hear you. I am absorbing what you are trying to say, and then I would react. It will not be a very superficial or a very artificial response. In my experience, when you have difficult conversations, if you imbibe this character of patient listening, I think it's a very comfortable discussion between both the parties. It might be that ultimately you disagree, but this entire experience of having a very collaborative and a engaging discussion is important when you are speaking less but listening more. Now, what is also important is that that you should know when you don't need to communicate, right? So, as I said, listening is important. Sometimes we might get very excited and we might just speak something what that we should not uh, that we should not be doing that. So it is very important that we also refrain ourselves from communicating if the need arises. Communication doesn't just mean a verbal communication. It could be a body language. It could be the email that you have written to your juniors. It could be an email which you might have written to a stakeholder. So in each and every form of communication, you should be clear in your approach, and you should know uh, what to speak and when to speak. Now, great leaders are very good in developing people. They don't work in silos. They are not one-man army, but they create an army of people with this common values and common approach, right? So if you let's say as these four important aspects which I put up on this slide, most of the speakers or most of the icons that we saw on the previous slide, you would be able to see that all of them possess these aspects at the bare minimum. So in your professional journey, I would like you to spend time on the vision, communication, people, and how to enhance the trust that people places on you. Okay, so this is just a very high level overview of what are the various types of leaders. Mind you, there is no right or wrong answer. It completely depends on what your style as a person is. Somebody could be an authoritarian. Somebody could be democratic. somebody can give a very um, free flow aspect to all these things, right? So again, there is no right or wrong answer. Somebody could be an it is not that an authoritarian person is always wrong and free hand is always right. It is always the need of that situation which tells you which of the leadership style had worked, right? So in a very nutshell, autocratic person will be somebody who will tell you to do. They will say do this, right? Free flow or a laissez-faire, they will say that okay, do this I am suggesting, but you can also modify, right? You're not bound by what I'm saying. So they're giving some kind of a flexibility to his or her team member. Democratic is a person who, before giving any instruction or a command, they will ask for opinion. They will say, "What do you think about a particular situation? Or what do you think, that should we be engaging with this client? What do you think about, the appraisal of your particular team member?" So they will seek feedback, and then they will try to help you in this particular situation, right? Uh, so, getting into a bit more detail, autocratic leadership is all decision making centralized structure where they will dictate the instructions. They don't entertain suggestions or initiatives from subordinates. They are kind of a self-managed person who knows what is right in that particular situation, and they will ultimately make sure that you fall in line uh, in his way of working. Um, yeah. So due to this autocratic kind of a leader, there's a very high dependency on that leader. So ultimately, if a superior is someone who will tell you to do this way, so you will always look up to him and await for his instructions before you have to carry out the most easiest of the task. So it's create a very high sense of dependency on leaders. It's a centralized kind of a environment. So again, it has its own advantages. It provides for quick decision making. So let's say if a person has been hired to do a particular activity, he knows he is a subject matter expert. That will obviously reduce the turnaround time. And then the stakeholders would be very happy with the ultimate outcome. Generally, these kind of behavior or strategy is used for very confidential uh, matters, right? So something which is very confidential, which might require a very sensitive kind of a thing. So for that, an autocratic leader is important. However, there are multiple disadvantages also. Uh, Generally, subordinates are forced to follow. They are not allowed to have their own point of view. It doesn't foster creativity at all, right? So I think what you should note is that creative ideas are not utilized, right? And also, what I have seen in my experience, that these kind of leadership traits they threaten the existence of a entity. So imagine a place where you're always told what to do, even for the very basic of the stuff. Then you would. I'm sure that you may not like to continue in that organization. So if you are a leader, which kind of a uh, tells you or instructs the team members what to do, when to do, how to do. So maybe uh, he or she has a autocratic kind of a leadership style. Democratic, on the other hand, is just the opposite, right? They will be seeking consultation. They will seek the views of other people. They will be persuasive in case of of a divergent view. They will try to persuade, they will try to convince you, and then they would uh, try to find a common ground. Again, from an advantage side, it fits almost every business, right? So if you are creating a atmosphere where people are able to put their point of view across, a solution oriented environment that you would expect every entity to have. Secondly, it also builds a very strong group of people, right? If you have if people knows that their views are respected and their views are sought after, they will kind of look up to that entity, and they would like to engage in a much more positive way. However, on the flip side, uh, the uh, the time required in this particular style is very high. So you would need to go through multiple rounds of discussions with multiple people, and that kind of a the um, delays the entire decision making process, right? It can seem to be become apologetic. Let's say if you don't agree to a particular point of view, even after multiple rounds of discussion. So then at the end of the day, you will say, I'm really sorry that I don't agree to you, but I still need to take this point of view forward, right? So to some extent, since we're dealing with sensitive creatures, this sense of apology, right, might be a bit difficult, right? Third, as we said, is laissez-faire. It's a free rein leader who who leaves everything to the group, will come as a participant. He will give the point of view and then move on. So leader is just like any other team member. He or she will not lead, but as a group, they would be a leader. So it's the majority view in that particular group will prevail. Rather, the leader or the senior most member of that particular group will take a view. Ultimately, it's the collective view of the entire group. Now, from a downside, this role lacks awareness, right? Uh, People might felt disjointed. They might feel that everybody is individual contributor, but ultimately who will take a collective view may not be clear. People might be passive in their approach, and they might like to avoid giving a very unpopular point of view. However, on a positive side, independence is valued. uh, Group members are generally experts in their field, right? So that's the very high level snapshot of this particular leadership style. So now the million dollar question: which one is the best, right? I think the answer, as in our life as well, it will depend on facts and circumstances. It depends on what you are looking at, what the stakeholder is looking at. Is it the emphasis on the stakeholder sorry, is on the task, or is at the people, right? Or is it somewhere in the between? So if you are a high task, low relationship kind of a situation, then autocratic style works the best. Wherever, however, if you have a very high relationship and low tasks, right? Something that you have looked up for a very, very long period of time, right? Which will take time to achieve, right? And you build relationship over that journey. So then you will like to have a supportive or a participative kind of a style, right? But as Buddha taught us, I think the middle path is what we generally should follow. In my experience, I have always seen a democratic kind of a style to be a very meaningful and a win-win situation for both the participants. So I've seen a autocratic style of working. I didn't find too much value in that kind of leadership style. Yeah, it will help you to reach a particular outcome very quickly. but ultimately you then you dilute the entire process. It becomes a one one person kind of a firm or a organization, and then you lose good talent down the way. uh, so in my experience, and I'm sure you would have also experienced similar kind of a leadership style, I would like to start or advise you to start with a democratic kind of a style where you ask people for advice. Don't just give them a very free hand so that you don't reach a consensus. You take the overall responsibility of making sure that the consensus is reached. So, but yeah, it also depends on the personality trait of every individual. So as you go on the way, I think you should look at the uh, other leadership style as well. Okay. Now, I also want to talk about a leader versus manager. So, and it's a very good quote that I observed. Leaders do right things, right? They make sure that what they do are for the collective benefit of all stakeholders. Managers, they do things right. What it means is that they don't have an overall decision making capability. They are a participant of a process. However, in that process, they do what they can do best. However, as a leader, they make sure that all the actors or all the participants in that process, when they have performed, there is a commonality or a overall response which is formed up. So a leader is that high level kind of a person who would make sure that the managers or the participants work in that direction. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think we have gone through this and we have spoken about. Hello.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So again, that's a very broad overview between a leadership and a management person. Leadership, as I told you, is a visionary who will take the overall lead, and management kind of a behavior is you are just participating in a particular process, right? Uh, so before I wrap this up, this I think is a recipe of a leader. First of all, understand your personal traits. As a professional, what is the value that you bring to the table when you meet a client or your juniors or superiors? What is it that you bring value? So let's say you are a director on a company. You should be very clear what are those value add that I'm going to do to that group of experts, right? And I think that's the first question, which requires a deep deliberation, because we work in a very highly competitive and highly specialized kind of an environment, and your ability to manage people and and the need of having a very skillful leader. Next, maybe we'll talk some time about collaboration. The most important thing about collaboration is not the beginning. As with many things, I think beginning is easy. Working together, I think, is still okay. But what is more important is continue to work together, right? So if we're able to continue to work together, then we would be uh, fostering a collaborative kind of a mindset, and will be able to work for the betterment of everyone. Yeah. So as a collaborative team member, it would obviously involve multiple people. They have different skill set. They would have different mindset. They would have different upbringing. But when I'm talking about a leader who is collaborative, he would make sure that all these diverse set of skill sets work together and make a better outcome. So it is like a music director who would be able to bring together various musicians, right? Be it uh, be it somebody who is good in guitar, somebody who is good in piano, or maybe some other instruments. But he knows how to blend all these different skills or different sets of music, and then bring out a very beautiful sonata for everyone. Yep. So team, we need support, success, work, guidance, growth, right? That's what makes a team. Yeah. So teamwork, very simply, is when a group of people work together cohesively towards a common goal. It creates a positive working atmosphere, support each other to combine individual strength. Now, a bit of a technical, since we do come from a technical background. Team and collaboration is not necessarily the same. When you talk about team, it is that it's more of a process driven attitude. Wherever, however, in case of a collaboration, not only the group has to work together, but they also think together, right? So imagine there is a group of individual who would actually think on the same lines, right? So you can appreciate the level of efficiency that team would have, right? So if I have to just clearly demark between a teamwork and a collaboration, is teamwork, yeah, is okay, right? That we are a group of people who would come together. They will just work to the best of their abilities. They may or may not buy the vision or of a leader, but yeah, they would not disagree also, but they would work, give their best, give the outcome, and move on. Collaboration is when you tick all the boxes, which is basically you have a diverse set of people, you have different attitudes, but you also think together. They know, they believe that this vision is worth fighting for. So that is when you collaborate, you graduate from just being a team member or a teamwork to a collaboration. Most importantly, the end product. Nobody would come and hurdle for a credit. It's a group effort. They would completely appreciate, and as a group, they will own the outcome. They have very high degree of trust and respect amongst each other. They respect their opinion. They respect that if somebody is saying which is unpopular or which is different, they would pay heed to that unpopular view, right? Uh, in this collaborative environment, all of them are equal partners, right? So there is no one man, there is a collaborative group which would come together and give their best efforts. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of collaboration? It fosters creativity and innovations. So if you let's say a startup is a very good example of creativity and innovation. They look at various new things. They go into those. walks of life where no where people are not yet going. They dare to go to that path, right? So I was reading somewhere that considering the change of climate patterns, there is a group of CA professionals who have moved from traditional uh, financial audit to more of a weather forecasting kind of activity. So imagine the creativity or the innovation those professionals will bring, right? So they anyway have a very robust kind of professional qualification. They are well equipped to apply things with professional skepticism. They are also been trained to be conservative. They're also trained to look at accurate results. So as a combination of all these uh, qualifications and mindset, coupled with the the very deep desire to fuel creativity and innovation, it's a very win-win situation for any chartered accountant, right? So as a collaborative effort, this will foster creativity and innovation. As a group and also as an individual, this collaborative mindset will foster and excel at problem solving. So when you look at a problem, generally everybody will look at a problem and then try to revolve its solution amongst the traditional ways. If you have a collaborative approach, if you would look at or you hear either other professional also, you tend to think out of the box. You would dare to take those steps or look for a very different kind of a attitude towards solving a problem. Collaboration helps in a big way. They also enhances communication because you have many point of views. You have many people will be able to communicate through a dialogue. It will be a mutual respect, and then it will also improve the synergy to for every team member. Last and most importantly, it creates a very agile kind of a group. The group is not fixated towards a particular point of view. They are they don't are they're not biased towards a particular approach. They're more adaptable, right? So in a nutshell, if I have to sum up, the benefit of collaboration is to look for divergent views. It will help them to preempt any particular risk and then look for a better solution. If I have to equate this to a normal auditing process, right? So in an audit, we'll have planning meetings, right? So the idea of the planning meeting is to have people coming from various teams, be it taxation, be it a IT person, be it a forensic person, be it a sector leader. They would all come up, discuss, look at a particular risk, and then as a engagement partner or as a team leader, they will take he or she will take a considered view. So collaboration is just that. You have to bring together, look for their point of view, and find common ground. But ultimately, as in audit kind of a environment where we like to look at financial statement level risk, this collaboration or this collaborative effort is very uh, relevant in any profession or any activity that we do, be it taxation, be it cybersecurity, or be it forensic. Yeah. Again, I think we did cover to some extent, but again, I thought, especially from a professional standpoint, this promotes and enhances efficiency. Uh, this results in a much more innovation and creativity, and and what it also helps is to create a better retention rate. So, as we'll all agree that retaining good talent is a challenge for any organization. So, if you have a collaborative kind of a environment, the churn in your employee rate reduces. As a result, your cost of employment or your cost of looking for new talent also reduces gradually. You are able to use or leverage your existing staff or existing pool of talent so that you don't have to look up for newer and newer talent every time. Yeah. So these are the top 5 things which I would suggest should not be there in any collaborative team, right? There should never be absence of trust, right? People should be trusting each other, right? Despite they are having a different view. Fear of conflict. They should they should have that level of trust from their superior, is that even though there is a conflict, their views are are respected. There is no artificial harmony that is that is sought after. There should be a conflict resolution mechanism where everybody feels safe, so that are able to air their unbiased view. There should not be a lack of commitment. Everybody should buy in as a team member, one for all and all for one. I think we have heard this in our school days. I think that is also very important when we talk about a collaborative leadership. You should never lack accountability, right? Only because you are working as a group, that doesn't mean that individual persons are not accountable. Individual persons are accountable in their area of things. But if there is a designated area or a designated activity that has been given to you, make sure that you are also accountable. Uh, Lastly, when you are working as a team, it is always a team which should be rewarded, and is not the individual goals. So you might, let's say, achieve an efficiency in audit of 10%, or you might have uh, pursued a new client, but what it is actually resulting at a group level? Are you as a group, maybe you would have been able to have a much more higher level of outcome. But it is always important that in a collaborative environment, it is always the group results which are applauded, and not the individual goals which are which you attain on the way. Now, a dysfunctional team, it might be a very uh, immediate or a short-term desire for individual to achieve goals, but ultimately, in a longer run, the team suffers. I've seen this practically, where you try to applaud uh, individuals over a group, that the collaborative environment just vanishes, and the team which would have worked in a much more close way will just disintegrate, right? I don't think that's a outcome that any one of us would like to have. Yeah. Again, for a collaborative kind of an environment, what is very important, that you establish a shared purpose, right? So when you are trying to talk to your team or talk to your client, make sure that you establish a common ground. What is it that you are going to offer, and at what price that offer is, right? There should be a very clear and open communication. There should be the art of listening, or respecting differing opinions should be a very key aspect in a collaborative environment. Now, for all these, there are collaboration tools available in the market. The one that are experiencing right now is technology. Technology goes a very long way in fostering uh, open um, open communication, right? So there are other knowledge management tools. There are other tools also which are publicly available, and that should be leveraged by the leader to foster open communication. You, as finance professional, as I said, is in the business of trust. We should continue to build trust, right? It is for the safety of the entire profession, and also for individuals, that we continue to create trust in the mind of stakeholders. Uh, a collaborative environment would always embrace diversity, and by diversity, it doesn't necessarily mean gender diversity, but diversity of any kind, be it a social status, be it a be it a geography, be it a particular community, be it gender, be it age. A collaborative environment has no barrier, should not have any barrier for any diversity. Rather, it should be welcoming and accepting all types of diversity if they have a common interest. Yeah. So, lastly, by doing all this, you would see that that there's some person who are actually very high performing, right? So, how do you identify them who are high performing as well as uh, collaborative? I think there are three things which make them stand out. One is the level of energy, right? So if you are talking to a high performing and a collaborative leader, you would feel the energy around. You will be vibing with him or her. You will feel, whenever you talk to him or her, he would actually listen, right, and talk to you with great amount of respect and humility. They would give you that opportunity to contribute. Secondly, as high performing individuals or high performing team, they make sure that they engage you. It is not that they have to tell you what to do. They will listen to you and make sure that you are actually doing what you had actually committed. They will keep you engaged. They will be communicating with you over the activity till the time it is finished. And lastly, they will keep on giving feedback, right? Somebody who doesn't give a feedback, I don't think qualify to be a good leader or a collaborative leader. They should continue to handhold. They are never shy of asking questions. If they don't know, they will come up and say that, hey boss, I don't know, can you please help me? So they are not shying away from asking for help, right? So energy, engagement, and exploration are the three traits that you will always see in a high performing individual as a high performing team leader. Yeah. Lastly, now see how collaboration fits into the negotiation skills that we all professionals should have. So we negotiate every time, right? So right from waking up till the time we go to sleep, I think we would have done multiple rounds of negotiations, right? So should I be eating sweet, or should I be eating ice cream today? If I on a diet plan is a negotiation that I do, very often with myself. When it comes to professional life, you also have various levels of negotiations. So let's say your desire to move to the next level, or your way to negotiate for a very promising kind of a kind of a job profile, or maybe just to negotiate your way into a new team, is what your professional life would generally include. So, negotiation is both art and science. It helps in arriving out a collective decision, and it ends with a very good note where both should feel in a win-win situation. Negotiation, my advice to all of you, doesn't mean that you always win. Negotiation again means that both of us get something in this entire deal, right? Uh, Negotiation, as we all know, at the heart of it is a compromise. When you are across a table negotiating, you will have to give up something, and the other person would give up something. So ultimately, it's a compromise, it's a balance that both of you reach on that negotiation table, right? Uh, it relies very importantly on planning, persuasion, and listening skills, right? Um, a good and a successful negotiation, in my view, is where both of the parties end up feeling good when they walk out of that negotiation table. It might be that the other person would have lost, or you, as one of the party, would have lost. But ultimately, when you walk out of that negotiation room, you should feel good. If you feel good, irrespective of how much you have lost in that negotiation, you would come out as a very good negotiator. Again, the collaborative mindset is the key. It is the desired outcome which you both want to achieve. You might fall somewhere in the between, but as long as you again have that collaborative and a collaborative mindset, you would be able to have a much more meaningful and engaging negotiation. So generally, negotiation will go through four stages or four steps. It will first start with preparation. It will then go to bargaining, closing, and learning. What I would like you to focus on is the fourth point, which is learning. Right? Negotiation doesn't end on that particular deal. Right? It is much beyond. You will have much more challenges, much more tougher challenges in your professional life, and you keep on learning over these various negotiation uh, events that would have happened. In all of these events gives you an opportunity to learn, right? So let's start with the first one, which is basically preparing for negotiation. I think this is what one thing most of us lack. We don't prepare before we go to a negotiation. We just go, right? We just go with what a preconceived notion that we have. My advice to all of you would be that when you are negotiating, you should have two things in mind. One is when you are preparing, you should have a zone of agreement. So let's say if you are going to ask for a fee increase with your particular client, let's say you are asking for a 30% fee increase considering your efforts and all that you have maybe put up last year, or maybe some overruns that you have incurred in this particular engagement. You might, let's say, ask for 100 rupees. In Let's give some examples. At what point, at what range will you be agree, right? Is it that you're okay with the 80 kind of a range, 80 to maybe a 70, or you are okay to a 90 to a 95 kind of a range, right? I think we should have that zone of possible agreement in our mind. In real world, in our professional life, I don't think there will ever be a possibility that you ask for something and the other person will by default agree to. There is always a middle ground that we have to find out. When we're sitting at the negotiating table, we can't just pull our hairs and find out the possible agreement. We should be preparing and keeping that thing in our mind before we sit it across and negotiate. What we should also prepare for is the best alternative. Let's say your option or your approach is not accepted, then what could be the other alternative that you should provide? This is, I think, what we also learn from a leadership mindset, where we continue to look at options, where you continue to look at the objective that I'm going to add value. It is possible that this particular view is not accepted, but what I could still offer in that particular negotiation table should be thought and kept in mind. We should also have a walk away threshold. In my view, I think the walk away threshold that I have is something to do with integrity. If I am being pushed to uh, to to dilute or compromise with my integrity on ethics, despite of whatever uh, rosy picture the other person is trying to paint, I would walk away from that negotiation table. So, what would be your walk away level or threshold that you should have in your mind? Now, once you have identified all these factors, most importantly, what you also prepare is the counterparty's perspective, right? Most likely than not, you would have a very different attitude or different approach from the counterparty. So, in our fee example, let's say if I would have asked for 100 rupees as a fee increase, how much the client would be able to agree, right? Now, if you have that perspective in mind, then how would what are those questions that that the other person might ask you. You should be preparing. In each and every meeting that you go, especially for negotiation, you should go prepared. You should never ever go to a meeting where you are not prepared, right? Think from the other person point of view, so that you can strategize and make emotionally intelligent choices, right? So I think this helps to have a much more planned and engaging and intelligent discussion. Next, we look at bargaining. Bargaining is basically what we can give up and what we get in return. Uh, uh, and this at this stage, I think where you sit across and discuss at a negotiating table, you look at creating value. Uh, this is the point where generally emotions and tempers keep on flying, right? So at this particular point in time, if you are having experienced negotiator, it is very important that we keep our emotions and egos aside, right? It is here we are here to talk about and discuss a common ground. uh, there is no personal animosity between these two individuals. Both are trying to reach a best outcome for their stakeholders, and in this particular exercise, when you bargain, we should also be respectful to the other person, right? I think any kind of verbal or non-verbal abuse, what is a strict no in a bargaining kind of a decision, kind of a discussion. Lastly, we close a particular a negotiation. We end with a common ground, and we agree to that common ground. Lastly, when we leave the negotiation table, we should reflect on our experience. Notice what has gone well, what could have been done better, and what you could have learned from your opponent, right? And don't be shy of trying different experiences, different strategies. Yeah, I think these four skills every negotiator should have. They should have a very clear business acumen. They should remain calm when they are in the negotiating table, when they are uh, discussing or bargaining. It is very important that we keep calm. So unless our mind is calm, we are not able to focus and look for a possible or a better outcome. We would, being emotional and social human beings, we are driven by our notions, our emotions. So even in case of a very difficult negotiation, my advice to all of you would be to keep calm to the extent possible. Before committing, you should do a thorough check. You should double check your fact before going to a meeting. Start with a realistic proposition and negotiate based on accurate information. Mind you, if you are negotiating with a wrong or inaccurate information, the other person will pull you down. And the moment it does that once, it creates a very negative psychological emotions, right? So don't go to a negotiation with wrong facts. Be clear and thorough with your facts. And lastly, and most importantly, prepare. Never go to any negotiations without a preparations. So uh, that's where I end my deliberations. And in a nutshell, what I would like to sum up is that when you are talking about a collaborative and a high performance team, I think preparation is key. Being respectful to a dissenting opinion goes a very long way. Third, seeking for feedback and creating and asking for help again fosters that growth mindset. So, well, that's all I had to talk about. Happy to hear from you if there are any questions. Sambhiji, Dheerajji, if there are any questions or if there's opportunity to interact with the participants, would be glad. Thank you.
Sir, questions will be posted in the chat box soon.
Sure. Yeah. I think there is one question which I could see in the chat is if can help us a path for new startup practitioner for a tie-up with established firms. So so I don't know who asked that question, but what I would say is that when you are uh, interacting with a peer firm, right? I would start with what is the value that I'm going to give to that particular relationship, right? Uh, so we all being professionals in this field, we have passed our chartered accountancy course. But what is that value that I'm going to add? Is it that I am a auditing, accounting, and taxation professionals? What out of these three main subjects I would be able to add value? Maybe this particular uh, firm would need my expertise or my connects from a taxation perspective. So I might be a startup firm or a firm which would start with an accounting and auditing practice. But when I go into that negotiation or a networking, it is not I, it is somebody else who wants to who wants to have a relationship with me. So what I'm going to offer, is it that I am actually going to be a value add, or I'm just being used as a signpost? I think that one question which we should all introspect before we engage in any particular relationship or a networking arrangement. Well, I don't see any other question, Samit or Dheeraj. So Sambitji and Dheerajji, if there are no other questions, then maybe we can call this session to be a close.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, it has been such an honor to be part of this wonderful webcast on enhanced collaboration for optimal performance in terms of skills enrichment of chartered accountants, organized by the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee (ICI). ICA Manushi Jain, on behalf of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Niranjan Paul, sir, for his
Thank you.
enlightening session, and CA Dr. Anuj Koyal, sir, Chairman, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, and CA Shri Priya Kumar, ma'am, Vice Chairperson of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICI, for their active guidance. And sincere thanks to the event enablers from the Gorakhpur branch of CIRC of ICI who enabled the webcast throughout. And I would a round of apol- apologize and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee (ICI). Our today's speakers, CNN Engine Paul sir, and other stakeholders made the webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank all of you present here and also CA Dheeraj sir and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. It's a,
Thank you, sir.
it was a pleasure connecting with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.